Good morning, Paulstakins. How are we doing out there in crypto land today? It is still a bloody day on the price charts. Things are moving sideways or more down. I haven't checked in the last few hours. Checked once when I woke up. It was the same price when I went to bed. I was like, all right, cool. I know we were waiting for the SEC announcement basically to say, hey, are the Richard Hart case dismissed? Is it not dismissed? What are we going to change here? And it was a big nothing burger, or was it? Because basically RH or RH's attorneys had said, hey, let's keep this disclosed, send the stuff straight to us. And that's what happened. So about 11, I think it was like 11:03 EST last night, his attorneys got that stuff, got the response, and we don't know what it is. We don't know what's in there. If they're changing, dropping some parts of the charges, or changing it, or is there a settlement going on? Who knows what's going on in the background? So all we can do is speculate right now. But it's really not a nothing burger, because obviously something is being done in the background, and we'll see what the response is from RH and his attorneys come in August. But you guys are here on the DeFi Crypto Alliance show, where we're using cryptocurrency as that wealth creation tool and going to use real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And we're going to change the trajectory of our family tree. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. We're going to bring a lot of friends and family and you guys along this ride with us. And hit the likes, smash that bell notification. Let's get the algorithm to pump this show to the stratosphere, so that way we can keep coming and cutting through the crypto narratives that we're all so used to every single day, Monday through Friday, at least, as long as we're in town. Next week, I will be out of town. I won't be streaming. Not sure if Dane will pop in here once or twice. But I will be out on the Spanish Virgin Islands with my brother, my sister, my niece. We're going to be scuba diving, and we're going to be, doing the bioluminescent bay. You can take a canoe through it, I guess, or something like that. And that's going to be a blast. A lot of hiking, a lot of just, hanging out and relaxing, and not looking at charts, not looking at Twitter, not looking at anything, basically. And so that's going to be a blast. And I recommend you guys do the same, especially if Hans is correct and we anticipate us going sideways all the way through October, all the way to December. He was saying December is the mark of the 4-year cycle from last time. So, guys, get out there, enjoy your lives. Don't worry about the charts. We appreciate you plugging into the show. That's nice. But go out there and live your life a little bit. Spend time with family, loved ones. Build a business. That's always fun. I've owned multiple businesses, some very successful, some not so much, but I always learned in every experience. And so, yeah, I'm going to go to the chat today. What is your guys' thoughts on the SEC nothing burger last night? And what do you think's going on in the background there? I don't think it's a nothing burger. I definitely think there's something going on in the background. There's probable reason why the attorneys wanted nothing, the public to see what was going on. Obviously you can, FUD or FOMO gets, put into the marketplace based off of that response. And so I'm sure that was one tactic to eliminate, that way, if it's a bad response, we don't see more, price downward pressure on the price charts. I don't know. It could be some of the reasoning. I'm sure there's other reasoning too. Attorneys have their ways of doing things, or wanting to do things they're very strategic. The community is always talking about how RH is doing this like 4D or 5D chess. Well, I'll tell you, if RH is doing 4D chess, attorneys have the capability of doing like 100D chess. Like those guys know how to think and move many moves ahead. They're very strategic in their moves. And I know this is because of my little lawsuits that I've been in and my dealings with my attorneys. It's and I was dealing with peanuts in comparison with RH is dealing with, and same with like my attorney, my attorneys that I've dealt with, the levels that they played on and the skill sets they had was peanuts in comparison to what RH's attorneys are doing. So RH is doing 4D chess and his attorneys are doing 100D chess. I'm telling you, those guys, that's what you pay for, is for them to think through every single part of the move ahead of the not only what's going on in the marketplace, but what's also can be what can happen in the courtroom and what the response is from their attorneys. And so you made it. What's going on, Miss Dane? We're talking about SEC being a nothing burger, or was it? Because we don't know what's going on in the background behind closed doors because they asked for it to not be public. And
I thought we got lucky yesterday, man. Nuclear Herbs posted that you know, nothing was there, and I was like, oh, maybe we got lucky. And then Richard must have. Well, Richard doesn't look at Twitter, so unprovoked, Richard went ahead and said that yeah, it came through privately. I mean, why would you? You probably already started into that. But if you're the SEC, why would you keep it private? Have you already touched on
it? Was Richard's attorneys that requested it, and then it got approved by the judge, from my understanding.
It was Richard's attorneys that requested the response from the SEC be private?
Private, that's correct.
Oh, interesting.
It was from their side. From my understanding, now I'm not 100%. If you guys correct me in the chat, feel free if I'm wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. Like Pulse Chain Bottom. I was wrong about that like 2 weeks ago. Although we're not too far off where my call's at. Yeah, so I would think they would want that to not to basically keep from FUD or FOMO to not spook the market one way or the other when this stuff is coming back and forth. Like there's gonna be some back and forth here. Now RH has to respond in August. And so there's
keep that private too. That's an interesting thought.
It could be, man. And maybe they want to think through how they want to present this stuff to the public, right? And that way the public is not
control the narrative better. That's
you control the narratives. The public is not again as spooked. I mean, we already know, man. The FUD and hate around the RH ecosystem right now is at the second highest it's ever been. First being when the SEC first attacked us. This is the second highest it's ever been. And man, yeah, we're just, yeah. I mean, why
That's
encourage more?
Yeah, talk about a temperature check. Do you feel like I'm not on Twitter that much anymore? Do you feel like the FUD is near a fever pitch right now?
It's up there. Yeah. You still have a lot of people talking crap. I mean, it's definitely up there. It's showing, you know, hey, we're at a all-time fear type place in the market for us. I don't know, man. It's interesting. You know, it's funny because the price really hasn't moved. Like I thought, like, when I went to bed last night, I waited up for it, right? And here in Puerto Rico, it was late. I was like, man, I go to bed like 12:30. I was like, I'm tired today from it because I woke up at 6. I'm like, and my body, like once my body gets put away, it's hard to break it. Yeah, when I went to bed, man, I felt like the market did not respond whatsoever to the news of RH receiving the SEC's response and being private because the price did not move, and it hasn't moved this morning either. So I think that, so if it was to keep FUD events from happening or more sell-offs from happening, I think they were successful at their job. Now, doesn't mean that it can't sell down here in the next few days, and there's a lot of speculation like Pulse is going to do a double bottom. Pulse X is going to go lower. Ink's going to hit like $1.60. There's all the speculation. It could happen for sure. But I feel like that event last night didn't move the market at all. Nothing happened.
I like this comment from Philip. I mean, looking at the chart, I think that sellers are largely exhausted. Outside of Hex. You still have Hex sticks coming out. People love selling Hex for some reason. But
End of the year. That's the end of the year too, man. The end of the year, we got some big sharks coming out.
Right. But the other charts, like, I mean, it's showing seller exhaustion. It's finding, you know, a nice rounding out of the price chart. We've shown that a million times here on stream. And so I didn't necessarily think that regardless of the outcome, I didn't think we're going to see a lot of action on the price charts in general, just because you're seeing exhaustion until the crypto markets as a whole pick back up, until you see ETH start to go for it. You know, I think we just kind of hang out. Certainly see some more downside action. I think it's likely we go see a double bottom on Pulse.
Sure.
I think we probably have a little bit more downside, but I don't think a lot. And I think we just kind of hang out until things kick back off again. And so, you know, you look at these events with the case and whatnot, and I think that they're largely priced in at this point. I really do. I think you would need something unexpected to see a lot of downside or upside on the price chart in a very short period of time. And that's kind of a nice place to be right now, you know, like I feel like we've talked about it a lot on our show, you guys. You've heard the talk tracks a million times. We've seen the proof in the pudding, right? We saw the pump with everything else going on. You've seen that in Pulse Chain. You've seen that Pulse X Inc. and Hex. You've seen all the RH tickers do that. Now we're back to the point where you could theoretically relive that pump this next go around if you think it'll do it again. I think it's just a matter of the crypto markets as a whole going for it. I think this is a second chance. I really do. I think it's a second chance.
If you follow Elliott wave theory, which I don't know a lot about it, you know, our ETH friend here in Puerto Rico does it, Dane. The next pump will be a lot more massive than that first one. If you're following Elliott wave theory,
right? It's that third wave that's the most violent.
You might get it. We might get a 10, 15x. Who knows? You break it. Once you break above price discovery too, you can't really predict. Besides using some fib extensions, trying to help you figure out where it could go. And those ain't always perfect, of course. And Hans has done some really good ones on Twitter. I know you've seen those where he's like, what would you do? Would you take profits here? He's done that a few times. And I like that because I get those numbers in my head. I'm like, okay, I need to remember these numbers because these are going to be key areas. But it can be very good, man. I think the end of the year, and I can be totally wrong, but I think it holds a nice surprise for us. And once again, you know, a lot of things are dependent on that. You know, I always talk about that on the show, and I've talked about it till blue in the face, right? The four rocket thrusters on the rocket ship, right? Like you need the ETF inflows, which we see that's going to happen. Like hopefully by the end of this week, I don't know, at least the starting of it. You need, you know, clarity around the SEC, which is like what we're trying to figure out last night. If we got a little bit of a nugget, nope, we didn't. The attorneys do; they got more, but not us. They kept us in the dark. So there's that, and then RH streaming, and then you know privacy on Pulse Chain. I think, man, all four of those. If we could achieve that by the end of the year, holy crap, that would be so beautiful. It'd be a nice Christmas. I don't know if we do or not. It's hard to say. I'm just speculating. So,
well, but to your point, I think we get some of those.
Yeah, we should get some of those.
Like, I think we don't need all of them all at once, right? But I think we get some of those, which is plenty to look forward to. And we really need, I mean, everyone freaks out, but we really need like ETH to go and do something before any of this gets exciting. And so,
yeah,
until ETH goes and does something, people get bored, people get complacent. When people get bored and complacent, you know, you have some sell pressure, but largely, like, I think you've washed out most of the weekends. I mean, I really do. That's what the price chart's showing. It's showing seller exhaustion. And so we're just kind of like hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bear market's in when you run out of sellers. Bull market's in when you run out of buyers. And it's, you know, we're kind of entering that stage, I think. But to your point, we could still have more downward pressure. We could double bottom. But if the SEC keeping things private with RH's attorneys, that's kind of bad news. Didn't really push the price chart down last night. They say, like, I've heard this too, bad news what is it? Bad news in a bull market will not affect. That's it. Bad news with a bull market will not affect the price chart, or bad news in the bear market will, and vice versa. Good news in the bear market. So I don't think that was the case last night, but that also holds very true in when you're going through the cycles. So yeah.
Yeah, we're just hanging out. I was trying to find the Nuclear Herbs did a good job of outlining everything. Is it true that in October that the judge, I think he was saying from what I was reading last night, that in October the judge theoretically will make a ruling 60 to 90 days out from that date? Is that your understanding?
That's correct, and that's why we'll have clarity. Like we'll know some information in October, and then the actual ruling is 60 to 90 days out from the judge. The judge will announce her decision. Yeah, so that is exactly what my take of that is.
And is the decision like an actual ruling, or is the decision whether or not to push for more evidence and information?
I don't know. But my understanding is the actual. That's the end of the case.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
That would be great. I mean, and honestly, that's a relatively, because when did the SEC allege this? The SEC FUD was last year, was it not? Like early last year.
Mm-hmm. Shortly after launch, maybe a couple of months after launch.
I mean, that honestly, that's relatively quick to be able to have something like this resolved. Like you get it resolved in less than a couple of years. Like that's not
about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's not bad, and that lines up theoretically pretty nice here with where we all hope to be at that point in the bull run. So if you get some clarity in a positive way, and we're back off to the races, I mean, all that works out fine. This is a second chance. I really feel that way.
Yep. I agree. And so it's up to you if you want to DCA or not. I myself have some dry powder ready to go, right? Like, and I'm going to continue DCAing all throughout. Well, if Hans is right, December, and maybe it is December because like maybe the ruling doesn't happen until like maybe December or January. The judge's like, okay, case dismissed. Like maybe that's how it pans out, and that's when we. It's funny how cycles work. Sami was talking about this morning. He's like, man, you're going to watch all this play out and you're going to look back a year from now and you're like, wow, it's just all part of the cycle, which is what I'm always saying. This is just a movie we're in.
I think that's going to be the case. I really do. I'm with you. I think
it's so weird.
I think we're going to look back and say, I didn't need to pay attention to any of the BS.
No.
They could have just bought 3 months after Pulse Chain launched, sat on my hands for 12 to 18 months and then taking profits. I really think it's going to end up being that simple.
Yeah. It's quite remarkable. So we'll see. Paul Sachs said, didn't the SEC request a jury trial? I think October decision is decided. No, I don't think that's accurate. I would tag obviously Nuclear Herbs on Twitter to see if he could bring some clarity to that question. But from my understanding now, it wasn't like that to me right there is like a discovery. You're still in discovery. Look at, hey, gather evidence, show me like, and I don't feel like that. I feel like we get clarity, very, very, very strong clarity and a decision made right shortly after. But I could be wrong, Paul Sachs. So yeah, I would be interested to know too. But you could tag Nuclear Herbs and he could definitely bring some clarity. And I think Nuclear Herbs actually, guys, is going to be on Corey Costa's show tomorrow, 5 p.m. EST. I could be wrong about that. We'll look, but he'll be on his show, and then so it could be a good place to go and ask questions in the chat and get some of this. Oh, Paul says, never mind, disregard that. They can't have a jury trial with their own SEC judge. Yeah, remember they threw that out. Congress threw that out. That's go.
A big deal. That's a big deal.
So it's
I'm telling you, we talked about it here before. I think this is so important that with the SEC running around on their witch hunt, it's more important to be in the back of the line of who they're hitting in the face with the hammer than early in the line. And I think that was part of the strategy the whole time, and we're seeing the benefits of that playing out right now.
you just all this case law building up, and it just makes it so easy for this judge to do her job. That's all it is. Like, imagine being like the first judge in all these freaking SEC case, and you're like, man, how do I decide around this stuff? If there's no case law that's been developed, or there's no like, how do you find your ground? That's rough. So yeah, I'm with you, Dane. I am so stoked and ecstatic that we're in kind of the back of the line, if you will, with all this stuff. So yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm trying to find
Nuclear's Herbs.
Yeah,
if you're trying to find his tweet that he did at 12:01 last night,
well, that one's gone.
He deleted it.
He did a thread of the dates, the important dates, and what to expect from each one. I'm with Paul. I feel like the October wasn't like an actual ruling on the case. I feel like it was more the judge decides how things move forward. They've gathered evidence, they've gathered information, and the judge dictates if they move forward to a jury trial or if the judge would rule on it themselves. That was the distinction, I think, but maybe I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, I was not under the impression that's how it was, but
I hope you're right. That'd be nice to have some clarity and move on already.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have Nuclear Herbs on our show. We should invite him on sometime. He said he'd come on. I met with him in Vegas. That was fun over at the Pulse Chain conference. Got to hang out with the guy, and he's a really good dude. And I mean, we're truly blessed to have someone of his intelligence and his law practice that he's done. Like, he's retired now from practicing law, but that's what he did his whole life and his whole career. Like, this is what he does. And so the fact that his brain comprehends all this stuff at a very high level, like, I don't know, man. He's keeping some sanity around in the community for the ones who want some sanity in the community. There's some that don't, of course, like all the Twitter Jeets. That's what I call them, the Twitter Jeets. But like he does a really good job of breaking stuff down and making us understand like a 3-year-old, which is what I need. And he's a blessing in the community, man. So
yeah. Oh, this is a good question. Does PLS bottoming depend on SEC case outcome or ETH ETF? I think it's the ETH ETF.
Yeah.
Now that being said, if the judge rules that Richard committed fraud and that all this stuff should be banned immediately and be illegal, then of course, right? Like,
and by the way, our friends the DOJ is here too to pick you up and take you take you to jail. Like, you get the most imaginable horrible that you possibly picture in your head. Of course, the price chart's going to get affected on that kind of stuff. So
right.
You're placing your bets right now. You're placing bets on what you think the outcome is going to be. What's the most probable outcome? This is what you're placing bets on. Make no mistake about it. There is definitely a massive bet being placed here. When you're dollar cost averaging in, you're voting with your dollars, saying, okay, this is going to be a big, giant nothing burger, and we're going to the moon at the end of the year or beginning of next. And so, like, that's what you're saying when you're voting with those dollars. So if you come up with the outcome like, hey, that this is going to just, completely destroy Pulse Chain, then don't vote with your dollars. Plain and simple.
Really well said. Corey and I are absolutely in the camp that everything's going to be fine. Here's like what are the most likely outcomes? Well, you really have 3, right? 3 outcomes. You have one where the SEC wins and Richard goes to jail and everything's terrible. That's one outcome. You have
that's one hell of an outcome, man. That's like
that's like
the worst. But even CZ went to jail and the SEC got stomped on.
Right. The other end is kind of like a middle road, right? Does the case get settled? Something like that. Some sort of settlement is kind of the middle road, in my opinion, where maybe Richard has to say some things, he has to admit to some things, but not to others, or some sort of settlement. It's kind of the middle ground. And then the best case scenario is Richard wins the case in flying colors and comes back streaming and does all that stuff. I think that the most likely outcome is either the second or third option. I don't think it's real likely. We've seen the SEC losing and losing and losing and losing. I think that the judge could have thrown out the case already if there wasn't the fraud charge. I really do. If you compare it to the other cases that the SEC has lost on, the main difference is the fraud charge here, at least compared to some of the others. And I think that's why you see it lingering. I think that's why you see it hanging out. And I think that's the main negotiation point that the two parties have to determine is if they are going to settle, where does that leave Richard? I imagine that Richard would have settled if they would have let him just move on at this point clean and everything be fine. But I don't imagine they have. So, our money's being placed on in the odds that scenario 2 or 3 happen. And I think both are very positive, so that's how I see it.
Absolutely. So
once again, on those, if that is the case, then essentially the ETF is what we're waiting for to make things go higher and set in the bottom, right? If ETH and Bitcoin go down more, then Pulse is going to go down more. And so, that's what we're
along with everything else in the market. I mean, like everything is wrecked. Everything. I'm looking over at my Ethereum tokens. They're all wrecked, right? Like all the meme coins right now on Pulse Chain are wrecked. Meme coins on Solana are wrecked. Like it's everywhere. It's wrecked. And it's just because of what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. And the Germany FUD and the Mount Gox FUD and all that. It's funny because this is exactly where in the cycle, Dane, COVID took place last cycle.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Like, how does it know? How does it know?
Explain it. I don't know. I can't make sense of it, but
this is where COVID took place.
Right.
What? Like in the cycle? Like, who pointed that out? That's probably Hans that pointed it out. I mean, that's who I get up the majority of my charting and cycle information from. But it was just really remarkable. Like, what? Like, how is that like?
Paul points out another alternative. Maybe Richard goes to jail, but they allow him to stream. So
I'll take it.
So then,
I mean, if he's treated like Al Capone was when Al Capone went to jail, I mean, he had everything he wanted. He had caviar. He was able to leave his jail cell and come back, and he had a TV. Like the guy had everything in his jail cell. Like if Richard gets to have what Al Capone had, he could stream from jail and pump our price charts.
Yeah, I don't think Richard's going to jail. Yeah, and Hex Monkey nailed it. Right. It's not a criminal case. It's not to say that there couldn't be a criminal case brought against Richard, though. So that's more what we're referring to. But this is an important point of clarification. Thanks for mentioning that.
There's no criminal case whatsoever involved right now, which is great. So, and that assuming no criminal case comes about, that is it. The worst case he pays. And I think they're asking for 12 million, and I could be wrong about that. You guys correct me, but I think they want 12 million. And then his silence. So I'd be willing to bet, the real reason why he's fighting this is he doesn't want to be silenced. So
I agree. I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly it. I think the SEC is trying to keep him locked down, and he's like, no, we're not doing that.
Like, let's negotiate. Get rid of me not being, silenced. Like, let me talk about my things and with my community. I'll pay your $12 million. Get the hell out of my hair. Like, that's a good negotiation. I think he might. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't go for that. And
I don't think Richard would do that, even if
he does have an ego and he has pride. So he'd be like, "Now, F you, I'm going to fight you." I
would fight him too right now. Like, the SEC's losing. You have case law on your side. You have a good set of attorneys. Like, that's as good as somebody could ask for a scenario to go and fight.
Yeah.
So I'm about it. It'd be nice to just have it behind us. But I think that's as good a scenario as any to say, hey, let's go and fight. So
it'll come quicker than you think, man. I mean, you'll blink before you know it, and it'll be Christmas. I mean, Agreed. It's like this year. I can't believe this year is already half over. Like, I'm like, what in the heck is going on? My time is flying by so fast.
Right.
So fast.
How about the guys over at Celsius coming back and suing users that withdrew their funds within before 90 days or within 90 days, up
Yeah.
to 90 days prior to their bankruptcy.
Our friend out here, one of our friends out here, Dane, in Puerto Rico is getting sued by Celsius.
Imagine thinking, this is absurd. Imagine thinking that you just got past, you're like, whew, close call, and then they come back. This is absurd. It's like freaking what's his name? Gunther coming out and saying that he was going to press charges and sue people for slandering his name after he's come out and scammed people out of money. It's like a thief claiming they're going to use the law to protect against thieves stealing.
That's exactly it.
What do you mean? Like, it's absurd.
It is absurd. And that should be a big NothingBurger too, I would hope and think. Yeah.
Gunther v. Gunther. It's true. Oh, that was pretty brutal though, man. People posting a picture of his driver's license with his address on Twitter. It must have been reasonably accurate because he jumped back on and
he did
and was coming for people.
Bro, you got a family. Oh gosh, I mean, live your life how you want to live your life.
Them to be smarter than you have been and how you conduct yourself. I don't care if you have a family. If you come out here and you act like I should say, you act like you're foolish, right? You come out here and you're foolish. There's repercussions. You better believe it. And hopefully no collateral damage. Let's be really clear here. I don't wish any harm on Gunther's family, but you've got to take that into account when you act the way that he has. You steal money from people, and a lot of freaking crazy people on crypto, man, there's
done a lot of damage. I just don't know if I believe he is Pulse Latina. I'm starting to lean towards the direction that it's not him. And I could be wrong, but I think this scammer who is Pulse Latina or the actor playing as, whatever, I feel like this was such an elaborate scam. They knew exactly who to point to because he has the bad track record, because he has in the community, because he's rug pulled. He's done all this.
If that's the case,
the scammer knew exactly how to, you know what? It was this guy, who this, and they were able to That's my guess because it was such an elaborate scam in the first place. I don't know if Gunther has the smarts to put together a scam like that. Could be wrong. It wasn't in his MO before. Leading up to that, all the scams are very simple: pump and dumps, liquidity pooling, like stuff like that. He's just very simple. It wasn't part of his MO. Now, doesn't mean that he couldn't have gotten really elaborate and creative and thought about this and really put some time into it. But at the same time, he also knows he's doxxed. Like he doxed himself with the entire Pulse Bitcoin community. Like he let people fly out to his home. People were in his home. If you were one of the Pulse Bitcoin sharks, or I think even some of the dolphins, they did this meetup, and I think so. Some of them weren't even in his home. So man, how do you have the balls, especially when you have a family, if that's what you're doing?
It's not balls, it's stupidity. That's all that it is.
It's freaking greed at its highest.
Yeah,
it's greed at its highest, man. It's evil. It's evil. It's just evil.
Agreed.
Oh.
Briarlight tip for you: if you wire into Coinbase, they shouldn't hold your money hostage. So, quick tip if you were not aware of that already. Wire in.
And if they are still holding your money hostage, I would switch over to Kraken. Kraken is who I use to avoid, because I feel like Coinbase does a lottery pick on who they're trying to money, freeze when people are trying to off ramp into DeFi. Because I've had some of our community members for no reason at all, and they have wired the money in, and it happens, and it mainly happens with Coinbase for me. But if you're ACH, and you're definitely going to get held up, that's for sure. But Kraken has never held my money, but I've heard some people say that Kraken has. But on that note, Dane, but Coast is supposed to be, from everywhere I read and look, and I've gone into their Telegram, they're supposed to be up and running by the end of the month.
Oh, that would
It's
be
July
great.
9th.
U.S. residents, yeah.
We are for U.S. residents. Right now, they're up and running for outside of the U.S.
Right.
It's July 9th right now. How many days we got in the month? We got 31. Okay, we got 31 days. They got the extra day and their benefit to get up. So 31 days. We're on the 9th day. Okay, let's go, guys. I love those guys, and they are doing like they are literally doing the hardest work, in my opinion, in pulse chain land. Like, besides RH and his attorneys would be at the top of the tier. And then I would say Coast is right under, trying to go to all these different states, money transmitter license. Like, imagine going to different countries and trying to figure out how to operate money through crypto and back. Like, oh my gosh, it blows my brain. So, yeah.
Agreed. Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, using Coast, absolutely. We're with you there.
Yeah, I've got weight staked over there too.
Mine too, yeah. Just
I'm not gonna touch it. Like, whatever. Like, I sell for a few $100. Like, I'm just gonna let it, and be up and go when it's ready. So,
what do you mean by this, Matt? If you have some more insider information and managing Kraken, don't make a mistake with a Kraken deposit.
He's probably referring to
pulling cash out.
A Kraken deposit going in the Kraken. He might be referring to, if you don't put the account identifier number in your memo line, they are going to send your money back to you. Where in Coinbase, you don't got to do that. Coinbase, you just do the wire and you just fill out the wire information. Everyone has a specific wire information. Everyone's got a unique wire info. Where at Kraken, it's not. It's a blanket wire info for their bank. And then you have to put your account identifier so they know where the money goes. Otherwise, they push it back and it takes like 2 weeks. 2 weeks to receive your money back. So, like, say that was all your DCA money and you're trying to get in because you got confirmation the bottom's in. That would suck, right? Like, you're wiring money in, you see confirmation on the price chart, and then they're like, nope, 2 more weeks, broski. And like, 2 more weeks, we could be 3x off the bottom by then. Like, depending on where we're at in the cycle. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, you just got to be careful with that. It is a nightmare. I've also had one of our community members do that because they were using Coinbase and they were used to that. And then they went to Kraken and they forgot the account identifier number. You got to put it in the outgoing memo line. But if you do it right, like literally, I did a wire the other day. Besides the business days, I had to wait for the weekend and the 4th of July. But as soon as it was like ready to go, when I did the wire, it was like literally an hour and maybe an hour and a half, and I had my money on chain to pulse chain. Like, it was like I was there. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not as good or fast as Coast, but it works. But it is expensive, man. My fee was like $180. I was like, golly.
I think that's going to be the same though on Coast. I don't think you're going to get away.
Is it? What? I can't remember. What was their fee? I think it was like 0.5. Was that accurate? Is that 0.25? So I'm going to do the number times 0.0. Let's see what that. I'd have paid $50 on Coast.
Okay, a little bit cheaper.
It's a little bit cheaper. Yeah. So what is the delta on that? 130. I paid about 180 is what I was out. Yeah, 130. So those add up, man. I mean, I've been using Kraken now, like on the monthly for the last, I don't know, Coast has been down for 8-9 months, I would say. It adds up. Let's just call it 100 for easy math. So that's $900. It's like about $1,000 I've spent in fees. Yeah, it sucks.
It does suck.
It's $1,000 that I could have bought into. Not saying that I'm buying the bottom with that. I bought some pretty, they're definitely not the bottom on the price chart. There have been some good buys too. There have been some good buys. Like when the SEC FUD happened, I was buying all that bottom, but I think I was using Coast back then. I can't remember. So yeah, $1,000 is $1,000, man. Even a 10x on $1,000 pisses me. That's $10,000. That's 10 grand, man.
Right. So yeah, we're just kind of hanging out for now. I think plenty of things to look forward to. This is cool. Look at this. Oliver says it's only 38.5 now to get a dolphin position in PulseX.
Yeah, he's
Second
accurate. I bought some PulseX on one of my last DCAs. It was great. And I bought, I thought it was the time was the bottom. It was 4 zeros, 1 9. And then it kind of jumped up to 2, 2, 3. Then it kind of came back down. I think today's at 1 8, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't the bottom. That was my last DCA that I did. And it was like a week or 2 weeks ago. It's 1875. So man, whatever. It's close enough. I mean, we could definitely, if Pulse goes and does a double bottom, which it could, it will bring Pulse X down. But I feel like Pulse X is freaking front running the market, man. It is trying to create beautiful price structure. And if it does and it succeeds and holds that structure, then once again, I don't want to call bottom because I got screwed up last couple weeks. But if it holds structure here, I just think it's front running the market. I do.
mean, what structure do you mean? It created a new low in the short time frame.
As in what, last night?
Yesterday.
I haven't looked at the chart this morning. Let me bring it up.
Yeah.
Let me bring it up and see what we got going on over here on
I mean,
Pulse.
we have a downtrend right now, and we just have a. So I don't know. I think it's trying to. Well, I can show you what I think.
It looks like a triple bottom to me, Dane.
It's a lower low. You see each one of those.
It is barely though. If it is,
though, that would invalidate the
1,
theory.
2.
They're all lower.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm looking at the price chart now. Yeah, it's interesting. But that low there was also the low a week ago. This is a double bottom from like a week ago on my price chart that I'm seeing. Yeah. Dude, it looks like it's, I don't know, man. That I could be totally wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm just a dude on the internet who speculates on his own money. This is never financial advice.
I mean, you look at these. Yeah, these are.
And you on the daily there?
It's lower lows. Yeah. So if I were to
zoom back to some more, zoom back for me for some more on that to the daily. I just want to see the entirety of the chart.
So I mean, I think we're headed. If it's my guess, I think we go back down here and we retest this liquidity. That's where I think we're kind of.
Yeah, that's exactly where it goes. Exactly where it hit.
Well, I don't think the local bottom end is in on any of the Richard Hart stuff. Yeah, I don't.
My chart does not look like that. Let me go back and see why my chart doesn't look like that.
And that's in dollar terms. So that's if you're bringing money in. If we look at it versus Pulse, right, it's different.
Well, against Pulse, it's screaming.
Right.
It's absolutely screaming against Pulse.
Yeah, I think we come down. I think we come lower. I think we come lower on all the RH tickers. I don't think a lot lower.
You're right.
But I think we come lower on all the tickers. I don't see any reason not to. Like the ETH ETF theoretically should be here, should be helpful, but that's got to get rocking and rolling first. And I think that we see the bottom. I think it's likely we see the bottom here sometime this month. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we see the bottom sometime this month, at least the local bottom. I don't think that we're going to go do new all-time lows on PulseX. I'd be pretty surprised by that. I certainly don't think we do it on Inc. Pulse, I think we come and we do a let's share this tab.
It's like $1.60 is on the Inc chart. Could be the next support.
Yeah. I think we come and do a double bottom on Pulse. Yeah, you can see we broke down below this liquidity pocket. Let's go ahead and blow this up. Yeah, we broke down right here through this pocket. I think we come darn near a double bottom here on Pulse.
I can see that.
The good thing is that's not that big of a move. Like from
I
where
know.
price is at right now. I mean, that's
Like 20 or 30. No, it's less. It's like
14, 15.
Jeez.
So it's not that big of a move to the downside. So that's what I'm saying is like, I think we come down. I think we come lower, but it's not that much lower. I think we probably see the bottom this month. And if I were to guess, it's probably boring for a little while. That's my guess.
Absolutely.
Advice here. You guys make your own decisions. Let's be real clear about that. We could be way off, but that's what I think the charts are showing.
Yeah, the OA could smash all this up tomorrow. You never know.
Right.
You never know. Or it could go below. Hans was talking about there's a scenario where it could sweep the lows, and then on the Wyckoff, if you look at the Wyckoff structure, it would be the spring. That's the spring. So it sweeps the lows, goes, you have this like capitulation candle down there
below
past the bottom, and then boom, and then it goes. And so that's the Wyckoff scenario, and it could happen. It could definitely happen, and it just takes one whale. Someone like, I don't know, what's his name? It's the guy he's got all the Rackham. Someone like him, he could smash it down there. Although I don't think he's been selling lately, man. I think he's been kind of just in the background being quiet. I haven't heard or seen. I mean, a lot of people are watching his wallets. Now he could have moved money around where he's no longer being watched. But there hasn't been much chatter about him lately. So it'd be interesting. Rackham Obama.
Yeah. So all in all, a lot closer to the bottom than we are the next.
Oh, for sure.
Exciting. And that's all you can do is de-risk and be smart about how you play your hand. For my money that's coming in, I'm willing to be patient with it. I've been saying that for a little while. And it'll be good. There's so much power in buying the bottoms or darn near it. I think there's a lot to be said about that. So I think it's good to be patient.
Yep, I love it. I love the play.
You heard anything about Alex? I haven't heard a peep.
Well, that's with him, no news is really good news. He's been I know he's working in the background. So that is when he comes out with whatever he comes out, and he could be strategic about his timing on that. I would be like, I wouldn't want to launch necessarily right now.
Wait till December.
I would wait. I would wait on that, even if I had it built.
If I were ready today, I'd wait till December. Absolutely.
100%. 100%. That's what I would do, especially if this new protocol he's got has amazing product market fit, and it kind of fixes the inflation that we have with Hedron and Icosa and gives it new, utility, stuff like that. If it has just great product market fit, I would want to launch that in the midst of the beginning of the next altcoin season and let those assets just skyrocket. That's what I would do if I was Alex. And in the meantime, he's got time now to button up any bugs or make sure that everything's all tight. I mean, he's working on it. I know that. So, that could be explosive. I mean, this is what happened. I was playing a little bit of the meme coin game, not like massively this last time around when the SEC FUD was going on, and then meme coin season came around on Pulse Chain. And it was like for 3 or 4 months, and I was playing it the entire time, and then it stopped, for like 2 months, and then the blue chips took off. So it was like September-ish, I want to say October-ish is when things started cooling off in the meme coins, and then at the end of the year, you guys know the story. There was like this like almost quiet calm before the storm. There was absolutely nothing going on during that time.
Yeah, I think now's the time to acquire blue chips. I think now's the time. I want to wait and see. So I'm personally acquiring blue chips. I want to wait to see what some of the narratives are that when we get this next push up, what stuff is exciting, what stuff holds on, where is there still a good narrative, and make decisions on memes then.
Yeah, that's a good point, because they're not going away, guys. They are not. I mean,
and some of these that did well this last push aren't going to do well this next.
And some will.
Some will. Plenty will, but some will not. And I do not want to be the guy buying the stuff.
Buying that bag.
No.
Yeah. Buying that bag that's 95% down, and then
Yep.
Plus, for me, man, I mean, the meme coins, they're great. They're fun. They're not going to get me to my destination and my goal. For one, most of them don't even have enough liquidity to get me to my destination and my goal. Most of them. And they're just an add-on to help amplify and help build my my core bags. So for me, it's like if I miss out on some, I'm not going to cry. I'm like, okay, whatever. That thing mooned, cool. Maybe I'd have made a few $1,000s in it. Maybe. I'm just not. That's just my thought process. And I've been playing around with it off and on ever since Paul String's been out. And they don't excite me that much. They just don't. And I've had some good ones. And you guys know the one I like too. And I still have that bag, and I'll hold that bag. And but I know the core assets with the amount of liquidity that's in there, with the assurity that I have for myself. I know it's going to get me to my destination and where I'm trying to go. And that's what my goal is here, is to get where I'm going at the end of the movie. And I know with those, because I don't need 1,000x. I don't even need 100x, to be honest with you, to get where I'm going. And I know the core assets are going to do something spectacular when the time comes. Not financial advice. This is like only what I believe in for my money. That's it. So
that'll be fun. Cool, Corey. My computer is about to die. Is this a good place to wrap?
Let's wrap it up. Go grab lunch. And guys, click the likes, smash the likes, smash the bell notification on your way out. And we'll see you guys mañana.
Cool, guys. Have a good one.